If I told you you could make genuinely good progress with just 2 hours worth of training a week, would you believe me? Because most people believe that they need 5 or 6 sessions to see any sort of result. And ironically, that belief is exactly why many busy professionals end up doing nothing. Everyone knows what the ideal program looks like. You're training 4 or 5 times, you've got the perfect split, you're making sure you're getting your recovery in between. But when we're trying to factor in things like work, things like family, and a social life, no one actually can stick to that sort of program. And that is why the goal should never be find the perfect plan. It should be find the plan that you're going to stick to in 6 months' time. So how are we building that plan? Well, first, stop asking what's optimal and instead ask what's the smallest amount that I can actually achieve within my busiest week. Your plan shouldn't be built for unlimited free time because busy professionals don't have that luxury. There are meetings, there's travel, there's delayed trains, there is traffic on the commute home. So if your program is only working when you've definitely got 4 to 5 days worth of 60 to 90 minutes free, it's a bad program. And that's why instead we want to look at the minimum effective dose. What is the minimum amount that you can achieve each week that is going to move the needle forward? Because although less isn't always better, doing enough consistently will always beat occasional perfection. The next thing to think about is that a plan that only has 2 sessions and 2 are completed versus a plan that has 5 sessions and only 2 are completed are not the same in terms of results. If you are planning for 2 sessions a week, you're going to make sure that you're hitting all the major muscle groups that you need to hit 2 times a week to see progress. You're going to make sure that you're adding in the right amount of overload and intensity to all of those muscle groups. And not only that, you're building the identity of someone who shows up to the committed times. In contrast, if you're planning 5 sessions and only turn up for 2, likelihood is you have built a program or you have a program that is split over 5 days. So if you are missing 3 of those, there are movement patterns and muscle groups that are getting missed out. Not to mention from week to week, you might be hitting different sessions each time. So you're never actually overloading the muscle groups and the movement patterns you want to overload. Even though the amount of sessions in both scenarios are the same, one is building that identity of following through, the other isn't. And this is actually where almost everyone who comes to us starts. We're not bringing them in and trying to get them to do 5 sessions a week. We sit down with them first and actually work out what's realistic for their schedule with regards to work and family commitments. Because a plan that is prescribing something that someone can't stick to is not coaching. And that's why nearly everyone who comes to us does our foundations program. We build everything from the ground up, from assessments with the body composition scanner, as well as setting big goals and incremental targets to work towards, as well as implementing 2 sessions a week with a combination of one-to-one coaching and small group, alongside support that is going to help them in their lifestyle outside of here. Because over that first month with us, we can figure out exactly what's going to work for them and then build a more tailored prescription for them to move forward with. So what should those 2 hours a week of training actually look like? Well, the most efficient way of doing it is looking at 2 full body sessions. We're going to work on strength to begin with because we want to lift heavy when we've got the most energy. Then we can start combining movements. It might be upper and lower. It might be opposite muscle groups within the upper body or lower body. After that, in order to help build muscle, but also get us into a state from a heart rate and breathing elevation so that we're actually going to help with fat loss along the route as well. We're going to make sure that from session to session, we are trying to progress what we're doing, whether it's adding a couple more reps, whether it's adding an extra set, increasing weight, or decreasing our rest or tempo. The most important thing is that all the major muscle groups are getting hit multiple times a week, and we are testing them each session to try and be better. And if you haven't guessed, this means lifting weights. Regardless of what your goals are, resistance training is one of the quickest ways to get you there. And it's going to be the most efficient for your time versus doing 25 to 30 minutes on a cross trainer. And lastly, despite this being about what you're doing in the gym each week, everything outside of this matters a lot more than you think. The cliche, you can't outtrain a bad diet, is a cliche for a reason. But even then, it's not just diet that is going to get you to the goals. We want to implement some nutrition that is going to help us towards our goals whilst leaving us feeling nourished and energized. We want to make sure we're getting enough movement, so steps or general activity outside of here, so we're not sat down at the desk all day. We want to make sure that we are emphasizing sleep quality as well as quantity, and finding ways where we can reduce stress as much as possible. Improving health and fitness is not isolated to just training or just nutrition. It's about looking at each individual piece, finding that minimum effective amount that you can improve by, and just focus on that. Until you've got those down, we don't add anything else in. So, to remind you, the best program isn't the one that is going to fill up every spare hour of your day. It is the one that you know you will be able to stay consistent with for the next 6 months and beyond. If you've only got 2 hours, that is enough to build from. It isn't about the amount of hours that you have available. It is about the quality of work that you are putting in when you are utilizing the hours you have.